guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 15th of July, 2018. Today is Sunday. We go live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's why you're here. You all are ready for this. But today we have some really, fun news to bring. I mean, besides the anti-Trump rally in the UK, which still is kind of hilarious in its absurdity, Trump visited the UK finally. We have been waiting for this for over a year. This is big news.
Do you have the Queen playing soccer?
I can have the Queen playing soccer. I can pull that up.
So, if you didn't see our Friday video...
She didn't really play soccer.
I don't want to go over it a lot for the people who are here on Fridays. If you're just joining us on Sunday... Well, I mean, show all the videos and everything again. We covered Trump's press conference with Theresa May. I want to show you again some of those highlights that you may have missed. There was a free Tommy pro-Trump rally, and that was yesterday, and it's very exciting. And I noticed a stark difference between the people who showed up at the Free Tommy rally and those who showed up at the anti-Trump rally. Let's just say it seemed to be more of a gay pride show-off costume party,
right,
than an anti-Trump. These people, here's the thing, they don't even know what they're protesting.
Nope.
If you ask the people, why are you pro-Trump? They will give you a long list of reasons, okay? He's good on immigration. He's good on trade. He wants to make America first, but he wants every country to make their country first.
Right.
He's hilarious. There's a long list of why people like Donald Trump.
Right.
But the people who have grievances against him...
He's a racist, and he's fascist, and he's a dictator, and he wants to kill people.
So, I have a little clip here for you.
Hang on, I have the soccer thing. Do you want it right now?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Maybe you could bring up a little bit, while you had the soccer thing up, bring it up again, the video of him and the pomp and circumstances with the Queen and how they're meeting, because that was kind of a special moment we were talking about last night with our friend.
Right.
I'm American, right? Not a big fan of royalty. But with the system that's already there in place, the Queen embodies a humility that I don't think your son, Prince Charles, has. That anybody in any royal position in the world today has or has had in the past 100 years. You know, she has poise and grace. But in an interview with Piers Morgan that I wish was out today, it's out like writing, but his video is out tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
Right.
If we want to watch it at 1, I guess we can in the morning. But with Piers Morgan. But Trump, in this interview, pretty much gives way that the Queen is pro-Brexit, and then Piers Morgan, I guess, goes and says you're not really supposed to talk about the political views of the royalty. They're not supposed to let them be known. Right. And then he's like, well, I can tell you this: she's sharp, she's beautiful. I mean, it's just really a magnanimous.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. We're gonna get to that, but I want to get to one of these little punchlines. If you saw the interview, if you saw the press conference with Trump and Theresa May, I actually should play the clip where he says, I gave her some advice. I don't know.
I can just read that to you.
Okay, go ahead, read it.
I'm going to read this. Can I just read this whole article? Let me just read it.
It's funnier when he says it, though, if you can find the clip.
The article's fantastic.
It is a good article.
Okay, I'm just going to read some of this. Donald Trump never fails to amuse. Actually, this is probably written in a British accent. He's very, very funny. You can say that he should be no laughing matter. He's the most powerful man in the world. His words and actions are deadly serious. And you'd probably be right. But then, just look at him. Listen to him. He reduces world politics to an amazing farce. And it's impossible not to slightly love him for it. What sane person could possibly watch today's press conference with Theresa May and not crack up? It was a comic masterpiece. Take, for instance, when he described the relationship between Britain and France as, in terms of grade, the highest level of special. So we start with special. I would say the highest level of special. Am I allowed to go higher than special? I don't know. That's what he says. As for his advice to May, excuse me, frog in my throat, as I was in French. As for his advice to May about Brexit, he added, I did give her advice. I think maybe she found it too brutal, because I can see that, turning to May. I don't know if you remember, I did give her a suggestion. I can fully understand why she thought it was a bit tough, and maybe someday she'll do that. She might very well do what I suggested. The awkwardness between May and Trump. Okay, have him. I'm going to finish the article though.
Said
but I would
yesterday
listen to
that
this.
he gave you advice about how to negotiate Brexit, but you didn't take that advice. I wondered what that advice was and whether you have any regrets about not taking it.
Robert, lots of people give me advice about how to negotiate with the European Union. My job is actually getting out there and doing it, and that's exactly what I've done. And as you know, as we've been going through these negotiations, there have been one or two sceptical voices, perhaps from some of you arrayed before me today, about whether we would achieve what we would achieve in December. We had got that joint report and that joint agreement on citizens' rights and those other issues. We got the implementation period in March. Now we've put forward a proposal that the two proposals the European Commission had put forward are not acceptable to the UK. We have said no to those, and that's why we have put our own proposal on the table for the future, which, like I've said in answer to other questions,
because you thought the UK would say yes to that one
on the Brexit deal, but also ensures that we can have smooth trade with the European Union in the future. And in terms of the United States and trade with the United States, there will be questions on some of the trade issues about the standards we have here for certain products and how we want to deal with those in the trade.
So she gives way and tells us all what that was. Hang on, I have it here.
That was the one I just read.
Hang on.
The whole country wants to know, Prime Minister, what was that brutal, tough suggestion?
He told me I should sue the EU.
Sue the EU?
Sue the EU. Not go into negotiations, sue them. Actually, no. We're going into...
think about that for a second?
It's a good suggestion.
But interestingly, what the President also said at that press conference was don't walk away.
Yeah.
Don't walk away from negotiations because then you're
stuck.
stuck. So I want us to be able to sit down to negotiate the best deal for Britain.
No, you don't. But that's all right. Where's his response? Is this it?
I think that one's not it.
That's Boris being a good prime minister.
That's
right. You look for it and I will finish this article because it's so funny. All right. The awkwardness between May and Trump over his sensational Sun interview yesterday was hilarious. On Boris Johnson, he said, go ahead. You have the Boris one. I just saw it.
Yes, I did.
We'll let Trump say it.
Trump say it. I'm sorry when I bring these up. I'm like, which one is it?
That's it.
Tech team. Play the
He'll be a great prime minister. He's been very nice to me. He's been saying very good things about me as president. I think he thinks I'm doing a great job. I am doing a great job. That I can tell you, just in case you haven't noticed. But Boris Johnson, I think, would be a great prime minister. I also said that this incredible woman right here is doing a fantastic job, a great job. And I mean that. And I must say that I have gotten to know Theresa May much better over the last 2 days than I've known her over the last year and a half. I mean, we've spent more time in the last 2 days. Yesterday I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with her. Then I said, what are we doing tomorrow, which is today? Oh, you're having breakfast and lunch with Theresa May. And I'm going to see you later on again. So, but I've actually gotten to know her better than ever. And I think she's a terrific woman. I think she's doing a terrific job. And that Brexit is a very tough situation. That's a tough deal between the borders and the entries into the countries and all of the things. So,
and all of the things. Okay, see, only Trump can say Trump, but what happens, because we're so used to President Trump right now, when he says things like, and because I want to reread this, I want to reiterate it so you can catch it in slow-mo what he said about Boris Johnson. How would Boris Johnson be as a prime minister? I said, yeah, he'd be a great prime minister. He's been very nice to me. He's been very nice to me. He's been very nice to me. I think he thinks I'm doing a great job. I am doing a great job. That I can tell you, just in case you haven't noticed. Yes, the President of the United States, leader of the free world, did just say, I am doing a good job. That I can tell you, in case you haven't noticed. Who gets to speak like that? If Theresa May said that, the whole world would be in an uproar, but he can say it. So then it goes on to repeat what he just said there. His summary of the complexity of Brexit and that Brexit is a very tough situation, that it's a tough deal between borders. You heard him just say that. The sheer hypnotic weirdness of Trump. I'm not even my British accent anymore because this is just too real to me. A Trump media event is hard to describe. Trump did his ostentatious refusal to talk to CNN. We showed that on Friday. for being fake news routine, old material, but perhaps his best. If Alec Baldwin, the best Trump impersonator there is, stood up and did a mock Trump press conference, he couldn't have made it 10% as funny as that. Perhaps it's wrong to giggle at the commander-in-chief. These are grave matters of state. Perhaps we are witnessing the collapse of Western democracy and the liberal world order. Perhaps we are witnessing the opposite. Nobody can tell, but who knew it would be so rip-roaringly entertaining.
Because I didn't criticize the Prime Minister. I have a lot of respect for the Prime Minister. And unfortunately, there was a story that was done, which was, generally fine, but it didn't put in what I said about the Prime Minister, and I said tremendous things.
Watch this.
And fortunately, we tend to record stories now, so we have it for your enjoyment if you'd like it. But we record when we deal with reporters. It's called fake news. We solve a lot of problems with the good old recording instrument.
They didn't let us. They
don't have the rest there? Well, because the rest there is the guy that did the interview from The Sun was in the audience. And because Teresa says, oh, he's here. And Trump is like, oh, he's here? Didn't I say good things about her? Didn't I say good things about her? And the guy has to say, and thank you. And he goes, thank you for that. Thank you for saying that I said nice things about her because I did. That's President Trump. It's fantastic.
The day before Brexit. And we had an unbelievably large number of reporters there because everybody was there, I guess, because of Brexit. And they all showed up on the 9th hole overlooking the ocean. And I said, what's going on? And all they wanted to talk about was Brexit. And they asked for my opinion, and I think you will agree that I said I think Brexit will happen. And it did happen. And then we cut the ribbon. And the reason I felt it was going to happen was because of immigration. Because I think one of the reasons I got elected was because of immigration. And I felt that Brexit had the upper hand. And most people didn't agree with me. If you remember, Barack Obama said, well, your country will have to get on the back of the line if that happened, which I thought was a terrible thing to say, frankly. But I said I thought it was going to happen, and it did happen. And I also think that as far as negotiating the deal, I probably would have done what my suggestion was to the Prime Minister, but she can always do that.
Which we now know what that is.
At some point, she can do what I suggested to her.
This is fantastic. This is what businessmen do.
Well, you can't walk away, because if she walks away, that means she's stuck. Can't walk away. But you can do other things. But she can do what my suggestion was. And my suggestion was, respectfully submitted. She will do very well. I think she's a very tough negotiator. I've been watching her over the last couple of days. She's a tough negotiator. She's a very, very smart and determined person. I can tell you there are a lot of people that are looking up now saying, gee whiz, she left a lot of people in her wake. She's a very smart, very tough, very capable person. And I would much rather have her as my friend than my enemy. That I can tell you.
That I believe is a sincere statement. But I'll tell you,
he is really good at dancing around things. And I feel that people like Theresa May, they suck it in. Okay? But they also hear what they want to hear. Because in the interview she just gave, she did the same political thing where she said, and he also told me not to walk away from the table. And he actually just said there, don't walk away from the table. There's other things you can do.
Right.
He didn't say stay at the table.
But I want you guys to note something there with Trump. He spent 2 days with Theresa May, breakfast, lunch, and dinner practically, like all day long with this woman. The fact that he made a genuine suggestion like you would to a friend who you are wanting to see do the right thing. We all have our friends that come to us, ask us for advice, and we go to our friends. And I think that suggesting to her that she or all of you guys in the UK sue the EU proves Trump's sincerity at wanting the best for the UK and the British people. And I think that when he said it was respectfully delivered, this suggestion, he said it in earnest, hoping that she would listen to him.
Yeah.
So I think that that's worth noting.
So there's a claim that the Trump administration spoke up for Tommy Robinson in a meeting with the British ambassador. Trump's administration intervened on behalf of anti-grooming gangs campaigner Tommy Robinson and expressed concerns over his safety to Britain's ambassador to the U.S., sources claim. Sam Brownback, President Trump's ambassador at large for international religious freedom, reportedly asked Britain's Sir Kim Darroch to treat the counter-extremism activists more sympathetically, or the U.S. administration may feel compelled to publicly criticize Britain's handling of his case, according to two sources in contact with the organizers of a Free Tommy demonstration held yesterday. Rodgers, which broke the story, claimed a British official confirmed the intervention, telling them that Ambassador Brownback had raised the issue of Tommy Robinson's imprisonment during a meeting which covered a range of religious freedom issues. President Trump's son, Donald Jr., is known to be sympathetic to Robinson's case, describing his imprisonment as reason #1776 for the original Brexit, a reference to the American colonies' break from the mother country, if you didn't catch that one. Officially, Robinson was sent in for contempt of court, and so I wanted to let you guys know about that. So there were some pro-Trump rallies in the UK. However, they banned the rally in front of the U.S. Embassy that was pro-Trump.
Interesting.
Con is all for free speech. Have your little baby Trump in the air, but no free Tommy pro-Trump rallies in front of the American Embassy. Police in Sadiq Khan's London have used the Public Order Act to prevent a rally in support of U.S. President Donald Trump outside of the American Embassy, despite permitting a large, ill-tempered anti-Trump rally on Friday. Protesters attending the Welcome Trump event plan to gather outside the embassy and march from there to Whitehall, where they would have joined in with the separate Free Tommy Robinson event and supported the Free Tommy Robinson, but the Metropolitan Police said no.
Okay, so I'm here outside Vauxhall Station, and I was planning to go to the American Embassy to meet with a group of demonstrators who are planning to welcome Trump into the country because he is a fantastic president. He's one of the best presidents of the United States that we've ever had, and it's really good to see him in this country and speaking truth to the people in power in this country. But as I came out of the police station, I was handed this piece of paper by a couple of friendly police officers who were just doing their job, but they've imposed Section 12 Public Order Act conditions on the assembly outside the American embassy, which means that people are not allowed to proceed or have a march or any kind of demonstration. And we've also been told that if I go to the American embassy in a group of 2, 3 or more people, that I'm liable to be arrested myself. So free speech is dead.
Wow.
Absolutely. I mean, we were just told by the police officers that if we even move towards the US Embassy, then we could be arrested if we're in a group of 3 or more. I fail to see how a group of 3 or more can be a breach of the Public Order Act.
Stand over
What
there.
is Sadiq Khan not wanting to express pro-Trump values? And it's very interesting because yesterday, hundreds of thousands of people, allegedly, according to the BBC,
It's hard to hear this
were allowed to protest against Trump, and that was fine. There were no restrictions there. But as soon as probably potentially only a few thousand of us want to protest in favour of Trump, show our support for the leader of the free world, we are banned, we are silenced, and we are censored. Share this leaflet. Share this video. Show the world that we are being censored.
So, and actually, what dawned on me today was that you have protesters and then you have rallies. Okay,
Yes.
so like everyone on the resistance and everybody's so angry and everybody's so blah, 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 blah. They're upset because they're not winning anymore. So they have to hold all these anti demonstrations. And I got to tell you guys, guess what? That is a losing formula.
Yeah.
Because it's much more fun to go out in support of something.
Yeah.
To be excited about something.
Yeah.
Even if you're in support of Tommy Robinson, okay? These free speech rallies aren't banning something.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trying to get rid of something. They're trying to restore something. And that is why we won 1776. Because when you're fighting for something,
right,
rather than against something, it's more in your bones. When you're fighting for your family, right? Than against something else.
Well,
it's totally different.
They could actually take that formula on themselves. They could talk about the issues, that are affecting them. They could get out in the streets and they could say, we desperately want to stay in the European Union. We want free movement. We like the fact that we have a unity with the rest of the European nations. We want to have a multicultural diversity. We want a colorful society. We want to hear the call to prayer during the day. We think it's a beautiful and lovely sound. They could argue things in that manner. But the reason why they don't is because they don't have real convictions in them. The only conviction that they have is, I don't know why I hate you, but I do. And that's what I have to protest.
So, mamas, get your babies out the room for one moment, because I'm getting ready to show you the pictures, just a few, of this anti-Trump rally.
What she means is that this is, if you do have younger people in the room, then maybe they shouldn't be watching.
All right, so a much promoted event in the day featuring a Trump baby blimp crowdfunded to the tune of £30,000 was something of a damp squib, with the blimp turning out to be a fairly small balloon which floated not far off the ground in front of a small crowd of only for only a couple of hours before being deflated. However, later protests were better attended, certainly compared to the small to non-existent protest that left mustard when the Saudi crown prince or the Chinese Communist Party leader were in town, drawing in large numbers of Marxist misfits, middle-class students and foreigners. The protests were addressed by the leader of the Labour Party opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, in Trafalgar Square, thank you, with the Mexican flag billowing behind him.
For those of you that still have not seen I'm just going to bring this up as a reminder. Carry on.
The 69-year-old socialist reiterated his belief that President Trump should not have been invited to the United Kingdom, despite his own long history of associating with Hamas and Hezbollah and inviting the convicted Provisional Irish Republic Army, the IRA terrorists, to Parliament. Now, honestly, guys, I don't know everything in history, okay? 1984, I did not know that the entire British government and Margaret Thatcher were bombed, blew up. Barry sent me a video of it. The hotel was blown to like smithereens in the bathroom that Margaret Thatcher was in 2 minutes before. It was blown up. She would have died.
Wow.
She would have died. That's the IRA. Okay.
Right.
He's cool with the IRA.
We're down with the IRA.
That's Jeremy Corbyn, right?
Right. Yes, he's totally down with the IRA. He has a whole history.
Even as they were waging a staged campaign of assassinations and terror bombings, as I just told you about, against the British politicians, police officers, and members of the armed forces and ordinary citizens. So here's some pictures. Are you ready?
Oh, no, you're not ready.
In England, Trump means fought. Hashtag President fought. My mother hates that word, and I believe she wouldn't mind if I read it in negative connotation.
Yeah, but you also read it in a British accent. I don't know if they know what you're saying. Fart. She just said fart. That's what she said.
Nazi Trump F off with whatever that was, whatever that is. Now, you have to remember, you guys, someone got up early in the morning or stayed up late at night to make these signs and these costumes. These deranged minds show that there's too much inbreeding happening in the UK.
I don't know how blurry that is from back there. But there are eyelashes about this long on a male face because there is facial hair around the green glitter around the face. They had to cut holes in this hat to put a wig outside of it and then make a fantastic face just for that photo. Now, this is actually really an impressive costume. I mean, putting on green and your hair, that's probably a wig.
We queers don't want you here. Okay. These girls do not know that they should be ladies. They were not raised to be British ladies, of course.
I hate that word. I can't tell you how much I hate that word. You guys in the UK tend to use it. You ought not.
Please stop.
Don't do it anymore.
It's not regal. A young woman treads on an American flag while holding an impaled effigy of President Trump with signs in the background.
Trump, actually, that looks like Bernie Sanders.
It quite does, doesn't it? It quite does. It says F Borders, F Trump back there.
Maybe they don't know what Trump looks like, because that definitely looks like Bernie Sanders to me.
No closets, no cages, resist. This drag queen kills fascists. Honey, you need a wig or something. Nobody can tell you're a drag queen. You have to have a sign. No, you don't look like one. You look like a man with lipstick. Okay, drag yourself down.
No closets, no cages. Can somebody explain to me?
He thinks Trump's going to lock up transgenders or something. I have no idea. Abolish ICE. Borders kill. I'm just wondering, what about the borders that are open and people are being raped and killed? This chick is somebody important. I don't care. Blanking, grabbing pervert, lock him up. They're trying to steal the Hillary Clinton line. Dump Trump.
Can you explain to me what Trump has done that deserves locking up? Because we could have a conversation about that if there was a thing.
This is right. We have enough clowns of our own. That is absolutely true. I get you do. You absolutely do. More of this. And Jeremy Corbyn here. With the Mexican flag waving in the background. So enough of that.
So I love that they're calling it cages, though. And this goes beyond that. But since the UK people here brought it up, I'm going to address it. You do understand that the people behind the fencing, cordoned off fencing, are here illegally. That means against the law. So it would make more sense to have them behind literal bars, and yet you're upset that they're only behind something that's less than jail bars.
Yeah.
Why not? Why aren't we looking at this like the glass half full? Yep. Hey, at least they're not behind bars. They're only cordoned off. And being detained temporarily because they did something illegal. Okay, carry on.
Trump quadruples down on sad impact of mass migration on Euro cities like London and Paris and praises Hungary. U.S. President Donald Trump tripled down on claims mass migration caused the Brexit vote, saying the impact on cities like London and Paris is sad, and praising Hungary for its tough border policies. President Trump had told the Sun newspaper that mass migration had changed the fabric of Europe, and unless you act very quickly, it's never going to be what it was.
That's
and I
Trump
don't
speaking.
mean that in a positive
Trump.
way. I am
Trump
reading
doesn't
it
have
from
a British
the UK
accent.
But the article was written by a Brit.
Okay.
Ahead of a NATO summit in Belgium and a working visit in the United Kingdom. Despite the president having already told the press, I don't know, it's not politically correct to say, but I'll say it loud. At Chequers, establishment journalist and former Celebrity Apprentice contestant Piers Morgan tried to get him to row back on these comments once again in an interview on Air Force One. So I wanted to get, I told you about that. Piers Morgan got on Air Force One and got to interview President Trump. And that not live, but that recorded interview will be out tomorrow at 6 a.m. UK time. You can actually read the entire one.
I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be really good.
Yeah. And after his fantastic meeting with Queen Elizabeth II, I said Brexit was going to happen for a specific reason, immigration. I think the people of the UK want to have who they want in their country, and I think what's happening all over Europe is very sad, he told Morgan. The Good Morning Britain host then tried to push the president on his comments about mass migration eroding Europe's culture. People were surprised you said that because America, of course, was built on immigration. The great culture of America is that it's full of migrants. Immigrants. So why don't you think that it can work in Europe? I think it depends on where they're from, he said forthrightly. Who they are, their education levels, work levels. I think it depends on a lot of things. I just see what's happening. The crime is through the roof in some places that have never had crime. I'm going to tell you the main difference, okay? When you have people forcefully brought in through George Soros, NGOs, these aren't families. Right. These aren't men with plans to farm, to love God, to be good, which is what our migration mostly was. To integrate
into the society of the country that they are in.
But it is more than that. And as I just lost my thing in the back.
It's fine. It was there.
Maybe you can fix it.
I will fix it.
It was more than that, you guys, because America was founded on religious freedom and people who were being persecuted in their countries for their religious freedom, those were the people that came. If these were people coming to Europe because of their being persecuted for their Christian beliefs,
right?
Trump is trying to
any beliefs, though.
No. For their Christian
what
beliefs.
I'm saying is these people aren't even being persecuted for their beliefs. They have no reason whatsoever. It does. Yes, what you're saying is it makes it more firm and more solid.
But no. What I'm saying is there's a huge difference between America and how America is great because of immigrants.
Yes.
And America's immigrants were almost wholly Christian immigrants, the majority of whom, like started with the Pilgrims and then the Puritans, the foundation, the seedbed, where Christians who loved God, loved their neighbors. All our laws were based on Christian principles. Right. These are not people with Christian principles. And so I want to lay that foundation down because the huge difference between the immigration that's happening into Europe is a Muslim migration, or even, I don't know, that is just Muslim immigration. It would be different. Here's the thing. There are people coming from Poland. There's into Britain. Mm-hmm. That is not going to change the fabric of Britain because they are Christian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. So what Leah is saying here, not only is a foundation of a Christian society the best, and all of our founding fathers, men throughout history, have always said that the Christian society is the best society that we can have. But whether you think it's okay or not, the Muslim population coming into the UK, when you said the words "rip the fabric apart," it will, and it has, and it is going to continue to completely change and morph an entire nation into something that it has never been in thousands of years.
Okay. And what you'll find with people coming from like India, because India was a British colony, there are a lot of people from India. They came over to become British, and when they speak and when they act, they're British. The mindset of this, and what does it mean to be British? And that's really important, okay? Because you've fought a lot of laws, the country's done a lot of bad things, fought a lot of bad wars.
1,000 years. I said thousands.
Okay.
1,000 years.
So, but at the very foundation is this constant evolving into better human beings, and they've reached a pinnacle, and now you're de-evolving, into human rights, natural rights, God-given rights.
Right.
And what happened was, when you had this mass migration of the real strong Christians that left for America, it left you spiritually void. And when you're spiritually void, it's like having holes in a wine bag, okay? It's going to leak out, okay? You still have the essence of who you are, but you need people to be getting on their faces before God every day, okay? They're to be birthed, to get those John Locke's, okay? Right. To get those William Blackstones, those great minds. And so I think that's what Donald Trump, I know that's what Donald Trump is saying. Yeah. I know it beyond a shadow of a doubt. President Trump told Morgan, you could pick the country and see what's happening, adding, some of the countries would not take it, and they're being really admonished by the European Union for not doing it. He singled out Hungary, where Viktor Orban's pro-sovereignty, anti-mass migration government has resisted EU attempts to impose compulsory migrant quotas on all of its member states consistently for particular praise. You look at Hungary as an example. They're not agreeing to do what some of the other countries did. Now it's a very tough thing, yet mass migration is changing Europe. It's seriously changing Europe. You take a look at what's happened in Paris. You take a look at what's happened in London. You look at what's going on. It is changing Europe.
And I don't mean in a positive way, he reiterated. And that's key.
You don't have here's the thing. You don't have Rick Steves Europe because you have migrants encamping everywhere. And
do those in the UK know who Rick Steves is?
He's the only
our guy
we
that
know
travels
anything about
and then
Europe.
Brings you guys back to us on PBS.
The second key and the biggest driver of this mass migration is when you have socialism and these social benefits. Mm-hmm. That is a total difference. When people immigrated to America,
they were going to have to make it on their own, by the own sweat of their brow.
There was no McDonald's.
They're going out to the West on a wagon train. There could be Indians that kill them. There could be disease that kills them. There could be animals that kill them. Starvation. Rattlesnakes. There is a plethora of things. There are a plethora of things that could have killed and did kill these people. And they went and they did it anyway. There was no one that was going to give them a handout. There was nobody that was going to give them a leg up. That is what we call...
There was no free bed, no free food, no free cell phones, no stipend. That's why these people are coming. Cut that off.
You have to have real passion. These people are not passionate about their migration. They are acting like animals that are just following a treat or a scent or food or something that's going to feed them. They're not doing it because they feel within themselves, this is what I need to do for me or for my family, and I'm going to make a way for myself in this new country.
And another thing you mentioned, the migrants that came here were family people. Not only did they bring their families with them, which was unheard of, right? The Pilgrims and the Puritans bringing their families to a vast, wild
wilderness.
Land. Like, seriously, these people didn't even go, I'm going to build a house and I'll send for you. Some of them did. They literally, and they died. Lots of them died. Okay. The Pilgrim mothers is well known. They died, but they believed that they were laying their bodies down so that future generations could walk over to freedom and liberty. Right. The people coming over into Europe are not looking for freedom and liberty per se. Not the same way that the people were coming over to the United States. It doesn't matter your color, your skin. Yeah. But it does matter your creed. It doesn't matter. It does matter what your beliefs are. It does matter what your they call it a Protestant work ethic for a reason, meaning I'm going to get up, I'm going to make my way, I'm going to work from sunup to sundown and then some. Yeah. And I'm going to love God and I'm going to love my neighbor and we're going to build a community. That is not the mindset of the majority of these young men who are literally breaking down border walls, stealing lorries, raping people, taking things over. This is not the migration that you want. Trump praises the Queen.
All right, so first I'm going to go to this soccer thing because we need, after all that, we need to lighten the mood.
Yes, because I can only stay on that for so long.
We're done with that. Somebody made this, and I love them for it. Look at this. See, Trump had a little bit of a misstep. He didn't know where he was going, and then so the Queen had to go back and forth. And remember, she old lady, man.
But look, he stops.
He does stop. Like, I don't know what to do. Wait, where is she? Where is she? And it just goes over and over again.
Stop.
And it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. I love that. I love people. I love humans. Thank you for making that, whoever you did. Yeah! Whoever you are. It makes me, just really, really happy.
I watched it 100 times.
I know. All right, what else
Trump praises the Queen. She's so amazing, sharp, so wise, so beautiful. President Trump opened up on his meeting with Queen Elizabeth. The president sat down with Piers Morgan. The Queen is fantastic, a beaming POTUS told Morgan. She's a fantastic woman. So much energy and smart and sharp. She was amazing. Such a wonderful lady and so beautiful. It was an honor to finally meet her. To have a queen like that is great. Now, I keep hearing rumors from Nigel and people in the UK that the Queen is a fan. I don't know how these rumors go about. I don't know how they can be confirmed, but you can see it in her eyes. She has a twinkle when she meets him. She was so excited to meet him.
Do you want me to play the video with the pomp and circumstance and then I can fast forward to
the place where she does meet him? Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's do that. While Leah's on top. You just yawned. You yawned.
I have yawning issues today.
No, you just also haven't gotten a lot of sleep. All right.
I thought that I would read about it. Elizabeth, who served the auxiliary turquoise semester and trained as a driver, beheaded during the second all the way back in 1990.
First of all, while that's going, they're not going to double here. Okay. So we played parts of this on Friday. Just get to but there's a lot of pomp and circumstance.
And so everybody was everybody was against this. Would have wanted to stick with it. So she just as good as a stay with it. Something even
getting to the car pulls in. Sorry. She had to stand there for a long time. A little farther.
Here he goes. woman.
Look at this smile on her face, man. Look at it. She is very. Oh, you're so tall. Did you just say that?
I'm dubbing for the Queen.
I
You're
see.
much taller than
Okay, so then she walks him through inspecting the troops. That's not gonna want to. There it goes. This is what that looks like. Just too little. She's so tiny. How come our military doesn't wear puffy hats? It's really funny to me because Trump is not a military man, so he doesn't really know what to do here. He's just a person. He's just like a civilian at this point. I mean, I guess technically you're kind of the head of the military now. I guess she's like he doesn't have a military background. I thought the same thing! She probably does. She's got one person in the UK left to conceal carry. Yes, don't go too fast because she wants to slow and she's all right, so we're gonna edit that there. You saw it. Now you did. That was really fun.
Well, first of all, I was thinking about my mother. He told Morgan when asked what was running through his mind when he was walking up to her. My mother passed away a while ago, and she was
The
a
video was so
tremendous
loud they couldn't hear us. I tried to tell you that before. I don't know how to fix that, guys.
Then she thought she was a woman of elegance, and my mother felt she was a great woman. I remember even as a little guy, if there were any kind of ceremony to do with the Queen, my mother would be watching the television. She wanted to see it. I was walking up and I was saying to Melania, can you imagine my mother seeing this scene? Windsor Castle, and it was beautiful. It was really beautiful, but the Queen is terrific. Now, if your mom was a fan and you grew up watching it, and like that's probably the saddest part. It's like, I wish my mom could see this.
That is really sad. So Horatio says, meeting the Queen is the only time I've ever seen Trump look unsure of himself and looking like he's wanting to be told what he should be doing, which is true because from an American standpoint, we have movies about this, right?
We don't
Where
know
you're
what
going
you
to
all
the
are
world here.
doing.
We don't know what folk to use. We don't know how to act. We're very crass and brash people as Americans. We're just
And actually,
Americans.
the people in the somebody wrote an article making fun of Trump in this article, saying I don't know what to call you guys. Like you call like the UK, Great Britain, and you know what? When we started our show, we didn't either. I called y'all England.
Do you know how many times we got ripped up one side? In America, that's what you are.
I thought you were part of Europe. You're part of the European Union, but you're not part of Europe. Okay, Margaret Thatcher made that really clear.
You guys have so unbrainwashed us to the fact that it is the UK that when I talk to my friends, I always say the UK, and sometimes I'll get stopped like, so what is the UK exactly? I mean, and I'm like, England. It's England. The people from England watch us, okay? Oh, okay. All right.
And
I mean, I'm serious.
From Scotland, a few people from Ireland.
That's how you have to explain it to people in America. You just do.
She's so sharp, she's so wise, so beautiful. Up close, she's so beautiful. She's a very special person, and the way she's conducted herself for so many years, and she's got a lot of years left. The presence of the Queen described her meetings with many of his predecessors over the years, beginning with Harry Truman back in the 1950s. Harry Truman was the first president she got to meet and know, and she went through a whole list. It was a very nice moment. Very nice. The president told Morgan the pair had discussed Brexit, but when pressed on the Queen's views, she's reportedly not a fan of the European Union. Upbraiding Brussels loyalist and former Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg on the subject, he was respectful. Well, I can't talk, I've heard very strongly from a lot of people, you just don't talk about that conversation with the Queen, right? You don't want to do that, but let me tell you what I can talk about. She's an incredible woman. She is so sharp. She is so beautiful. When I say beautiful inside and out, that is a beautiful woman. So, shh. The Queen wanted Brexit, as we've always known.
Of course she wants Brexit. It's her country. She doesn't want the European Union telling her what to do, telling her people what to do.
So when we're talking about the migration. You obviously don't want it to happen this way. Open Borders NGO, which is a non-government staff, raped children while working aboard. Poverty-stricken children in third world countries were gang raped and paid for sex by staff workers from Foreign Aid NGO, the MPs have been told. The International Development Committee heard how children revealed a decade ago that they were abused by men at peacekeeping camps, while their families reported being powerless to act. Corina Kaski, a child development consultant who investigated claims of child abuse carried out by humanitarian staff and peacekeepers in 2008 for Save the Children, said both local and international aid workers were involved in the sexual exploitation of children. MPs investigating exploitation in the charity sector were told how the research found perpetrators preyed on the most vulnerable, with victims often existing outside of the system, not on any register for schooling, humanitarian aid, or any other services. The children were often left alone. They were, separated from their families. Where are the protesters? Where are the protesters? They were separated from their families. Where are the protesters? You're going to protest in the UK? You going to protest this?
Go ahead.
They were living in extreme poverty without the protection and support of from families. Many were using transaction sex just to survive. Sharing testimony from the research, for which she interviewed victims from Haiti, South Sudan, and the Ivory Coast, she reported a father lamenting that aid workers who abuse children don't even hide what they're doing. MPs heard from the report entitled "No One to Turn To," how a homeless girl in Haiti was taken to a man who works for an NGO by a group of people who decided to make money off of her. He gave her $1 American, and the little girl was happy to see the money, according to a young whistleblower. It was 2 a.m. The man took her and raped her, and in the morning the girl could not walk. Testimony given at the committee also included evidence from a 14-year-old boy who had described how he and his peers went to work at the peacekeeping camp in order to earn money to help support their families. Sometimes they ask us to find girls. Sometimes they ask us to find girls, especially our age. Often between 8 and 10 men will share 2 or 3 girls. They also use their mobile phones to film them. A young girl in Haiti had stated that the people who are raping us and the people in the office are the same people. Save the Children, who was last year accused of working with criminal gangs smuggling migrants into Europe, has been under serious scrutiny amidst allegations that the pro-Open Borders NGO failed to properly investigate claims. And that is all. Having withdrawn from government funding bids as a result of the controversy, the organization has announced that it expects income this year to plummet by more than $67 million. You've got the former chief executive Justin Forts and the former policy director Brendan Cox, and so there you have it. There you have it. They have announced that they're going to withdraw.
I don't really even have too much to comment on about this. Obviously, I'm angry. And I'm reminded, God says, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. But that does not mean that as a society, we don't step up and nip this in the bud and bring justice to these victims. This should not be happening. And it happens in every single area where people have money and power.
Absolutely.
It happens over and over and over again. So we have kind of an interesting history that I'm not going to go into, but we have been told in the past by people, they would say, you just, by our own family members, they're millionaires, some of them are billionaires, like family members that are like close to us, like my mom's brothers and sisters and on my dad's side of the family. We have been told by them, aunts and uncles, you guys just hate money. And you just think that it's everybody that has money is completely evil, and they like spit it at us like we just hate rich people somehow, that we're jealous of rich people. First of all, we have zero reason to be jealous of rich people because we still have every opportunity to be one of them. We could join our family on either side, our aunts or our uncle or our dad. They would take us back if we went back and said, "Here, take us in," and we could become millionaires as well. It's that close to us. Like, it really, really is. We don't want it. Do you know why? Because people that have money and people that have power take advantage of people below them, and that's how they get it. And they abuse children in the process.
Absolutely.
So before you move on, there was a comment on Facebook Live by Nick Backhand.
We're live on Facebook?
We are. Yeah, I fixed it. That I wanted to address. He says, you guys are so fooled by the royal propaganda machine, aren't you? Maybe check into their sordid past and who they are. They are not the rightful people on the throne of England. It's quite embarrassing watching people, usually Americans, fawn over the royals. How can you be so clued up on other issues and still sheep when it comes to the monarchy? Nick, I don't know how long you've been watching our show. Okay, we're the type of people where we say the letter of the law kills, the spirit of the law brings life. We're able to take every situation and address it for that moment. We have talked about the monarchy, the evils of the monarchy. But I want to tell you something, Nick, and maybe you're just not so clued up to this as we are. We have a situation going on in the United Kingdom, and it's called Brexit. And we have an evil called the European Union that throws the evil of the sordid past of the monarchy under the bus.
There are lesser of two evils.
We're going to take advantage of the fact that the Queen is pro-Brexit and that the Queen actually wants Trump to come to the United Kingdom. She wanted to meet him. She is a fan. We're going to take advantage of that to the nth degree because we have a far bigger enemy, a monster, a world-killing, planet-destroying monster in the European Union that must be stopped. And the enemy of my enemy right now is my friend. So that's how clued up we are to it. And I love you. And I should have said that nicer. But when you go and nitpick at people and say you're just fawning over the royals and you use negative terms, I don't appreciate that.
We don't fawn over royals. No. I'm not a fan. We don't watch weddings. We're not into that stuff. Okay.
But I will tell you something.
1776 means a lot to us.
The people that are fighting the European Union, this evil that maybe you're not too keen on fighting, I don't know. These are patriotic Brits. And for some reason, looking at the pomp and circumstance, looking at the Queen, whatever, the World Cup is giving them inspiration. And these troops, that's what I'm going to call them, these people on the ground, the civilians that are fighting for Brexit, need all the moral support that they can get. And we here in America are going to give it to them. Okay, Nick? That's where we stand on this. We are very well clued into the propaganda of the royals, but I'm not going to sit there and swat at a gnat and swallow an elephant right now. And the elephant is the European Union. I love you, buddy.
Brexit plan under threat. EU has considerable doubts over custom plans and MEP claims. Theresa May's Brexit blueprint is under fire again after a top Brussels MEP rounded on the Prime Minister's plans. So,
for purposes, given the deficit that
you just come on, right?
That was signed quite a long time ago, and there's a lot of water has gone under the bridge since then, including, for example, what happened when the withdrawal bill went through. Well, a lot of these matters we discussed, there were 14 amendments that came back from the House of Lords, which covered this territory. The Labour Party has been completely split on it. We had a debate only the other day. You were on the European Scrutiny Committee with me some years ago. You remember, we put forward the idea of having a full debate on the Japan agreement and the Canada agreement. And the fact is that the Labour Party completely disintegrated over these questions only 1 week ago.
But Bill Cash, I mean, there is a suggestion afoot that actually you guys, you and Jacob Rees-Mogg, have now been cornered by the Prime Minister, and that the option you have is either accept this, which is much closer to a so-called soft Brexit than you would like, or face the possibility of voting for Norway. Do you think
people love saying that sort of thing, because actually it's not the case at all. We want to have seamless trade. We don't want a hard border in Ireland either, and that is what the EU wants itself. So for practical purposes, given the deficit that they have of 82 billion a year with us, they have every incentive to arrive at a proper trade deal with us.
So, Emma Brock poured cold water on customs arrangements proposed in Mrs. May's 98-page white paper, claiming her soft Brexit fudge raised considerable doubts. It comes after U.S. President Donald Trump's incendiary claim that Mrs. May's blueprint, agreed at the Crunch Checkers cabinet summit, had torpedo chances of a post-Brexit trade deal with America. Mr. Trump has since rode back his bombshell claim, but the latest criticism adds to Mrs. May's mounting woes. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson followed British Secretary David Davis in resigning from the cabinet following the Checkers Brexit blueprint. This is like blah 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 Brexit blah 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 blah. Veteran German Europhile Mr. Bork, a prominent member of the European Parliament's Brexit Committee, said the white paper could be the basis of future relationships, but he singled out Number 10's proposals on a customs arrangement, questioning whether Mrs. May's plan to avoid controls at the Irish border would work. So there's a lot of people going over this Brexit plan. Now,
it's not really a Brexit plan. It's a let's stay in the European Union and call it Brexit plan.
Yeah. I want to try to find some of the videos I have. I think I have Jacob Rees-Moggs. And then we're going to get later on, if you stick with us, we are going to get to the pro-Trump, free Trump rally. Did that one. Where are you, Moggs? I have to find
So why are we covering so much in the UK this Sunday? Usually we try to go around the world. It's because there's a lot going on in the UK, and it deserves an entire segment.
All right. So it's fake sovereignty. Mar dismantles Bray's Brexit plan. And then we have Rees-Moggs here. Chequers talks not done government.
Is the one who has put these proposals together at Chequers. She's the one who has to take them to Brussels. And by saying that what she's come up with you don't support, how can you square that with saying that she still has your confidence?
Well, I think they may have been taken to Brussels and to Berlin before they were presented at Chequers, which is a serious question. And there's another question about how they were drawn up, because they were drawn up in secret without telling the Secretary of State.
Can you pause that really quick? Because Horatio said that to us. If you guys didn't see our interview with Horatio, we did that Thursday morning. You can go back and watch it. It was really fun. Mogg just said it here. Horatio said it on Thursday that there is a pretty strong chance that May took the white paper to Brussels, to Angela Merkel first, before it was even presented to anybody in Parliament or any of the British people. That is a serious infraction. Carry on.
David Davis, what was going on, whilst his department was working on a white paper. I don't think it has been handled in a proper governmental system in accordance with our constitutional norms. But how do I maintain...
So can I just clarify? Yeah. Are you accusing the Prime Minister of having effectively pre-agreed what she was going to ultimately come up with at the end of Chequers with Brussels?
No, I'm just noting that she went to see the German Chancellor just before these proposals were put forward, which seem not to be unwelcome to Mrs. Merkel. I think that is an interesting point to note, but is not within the norms of the Constitution to discuss British policy with other leaders before it's presented to the Cabinet. So I'm concerned about this process, and I think the result of it is bad. But there are many other areas of policy where I support the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister personally retains my confidence.
The Green Knight says David Davis and Mogg have been putting the pressure on May the last few days. Boris is making a speech tomorrow. There could be a leadership contest looming.
That would be pretty fun to see. Definitely.
You can close that out. We saw that one.
Yeah. So I do have another one on Boris Johnson, but I probably wanted to play that one. But I think we're going to move on to. Oh, here it is.
The Prime Minister.
Good morning.
I meant Jacob Rees-Moggs. I don't know why I said that. There's so many people keep track of.
The Prime Minister in an interview this morning made very clear she thinks that the plan set out at Chequers does respect all of the red lines she had laid down before. Can you agree with her on that much?
No, I don't. I think that the European Court of Justice will have a role that is effectively the same as it has now over the Common Rule Book, which isn't a Common Rule Book, but the European Union's Rule Book, judged by the European Court of Justice. And if we don't follow it, we risk being penalised, which is the same position as we're in today. Parliament, even now, could pass an act to say we weren't following a particular European Union rule. So no, I don't think her red lines have been respected. And some of what she said was very interesting. Andrew Marr pushed her on when this decision about the Common Rule Book was made, when they decided to have the EU's rules for the UK. And it seems it came into discussion a long time ago, but David Davis in the Dexter Department wasn't told. And that's a very strange way to be running government.
Yes, we've heard from Steve Baker, who resigned from that department as well. He's been saying this morning that, in fact, the department is a Potemkin-like structure and that they were kept in the dark. Well, we'll be talking to a minister from that department later, so we can put all of that to him. What I want to ask you is, the Prime Minister said the plan had changed a bit
because what was originally proposed was non-negotiable. It had been made clear in Brussels they wouldn't accept it. So this is the only realistic alternative, isn't it?
This seems to me a hopeless way to negotiate, that you accept what the other side says at an early stage of negotiations as holy writ. And we've done that the whole way through. The staging of negotiations was a mistake. We should never have agreed to that. In a negotiation, two sides say what they want. You don't just as one side say, oh, well, the EU said this, we must follow it. And I think Julia Hartley-Brewer, in her comment earlier, got absolutely to the heart of this, and it came out at a briefing to MPs as well. The government unfortunately believes that Brexit is not a good thing in itself. It seems to think it has to be tempered with non-Brexit. And that was when the Prime Minister said people voted with their hearts, and she was doing something with her head. In my view, and in the view of most Brexiteers, head and heart come together. Brexit is enormously positive, a huge opportunity for the country.
Yes.
And I'm afraid the Prime Minister doesn't see that. And it's why I think she is a Remainer who has remained a Remainer.
And in that case, is it time to change the Prime Minister? You said in the past that you want to change the policy, but not the PM. From what you're saying today, a Remainer who's remained a Remainer, it doesn't sound like you will ever get a policy you can agree with while she's still at the top.
I think she still has the opportunity to change her policy. To go back to the Mansion House speech, which had considerable elements of compromise in it, that the Mansion House speech was welcomed from memory both by Nicky Morgan and by me, so it had wide support across the Conservative Party. It was a good basis to do things on the assumption of equivalence of regulations, not of process of regulations. It's the process of regulations, the EU's rule book, that makes us the vassal state. And that's the error that clearly has been discussed in Downing Street for some time, hidden away in the back rooms, away from DEXU and away from members of Parliament, away from the British public. But if the Prime Minister went back to what she said before, then there's a policy that people could rally around.
There is nothing she said this morning that suggests she is prepared to go back to what she said before. In fact, she said it wasn't practical because it was non-negotiable. If she is not going to change her mind, and she's going to stick with this policy, does there come a point at which you have to contemplate trying to replace the PM rather than just replace the policy?
I think we can focus on the policy, which will have to be brought through Parliament, and the
He is in line from the people that we have been researching to be this PM, and so the fact that he is not pushing for this position is probably a good thing for him.
There are so many quotes throughout history from the greatest of minds that say that leadership is something that if the best of men have leadership thrust upon them, they don't go out and seek it, like George Washington. And that's why he made such an incredible commander-in-chief, first commander-in-chief. I love Jacob Rees-Mogg. He is the epitome of what a British politician should be. He is clear-headed, he is calm, he is intelligent, and he is not shaken by emotion. And that's what really gets me about him. Regardless of what you think about his policies, he would make the best prime minister because he is so calm, he is so sturdy, and he's not a hothead. I don't want Boris Johnson as prime minister. I have to tell you, the dude has some issues, and that hair, I mean, Trump's got better hair than that. But that aside, he is kind of a firecracker. You don't know what... I don't trust him. I do not trust Boris Johnson. I trust Jacob Rees-Mogg, and I really sincerely hope that he is the next prime minister.
All right, so I'm going to take you to this Tommy Robinson.
Horatio, you cannot squish my hopes. He says Jacob Rees-Mogg won't be prime minister. I don't care what you say. I'm allowed to be hopeful if I want to.
They said Donald Trump wouldn't be president.
They said Donald Trump would not be president. I'm not asking for Nigel here. Rees-Mogg is, you have to admit that, Rees-Mogg has a better chance of becoming prime minister than Nigel does.
He has an absolute. I mean, who else? You only have Boris Johnson and Rees-Mogg to put forth their name if it happens. From right. What I, so here's Avi Yemi. He's a Jew in Australia he's Australian's Tommy Robinson, and he and his mom came for the Free Tommy Robinson rally in the UK. So.
Guys, we got here a couple of, 48 hours ago on a 24-hour flight.
aside from him.
She does the whole thing. We love Tommy Robinson in Australia, she says.
We're coming together, but there are millions in Australia that support Tommy, that support you, that are here to fight the fight together, united. No matter what the left call us, I am the world's proudest Jewish Nazi. And Tommy is my brother. Tommy is my friend. Tommy is my leader. Because Tommy stands for what is right, even when it's unpopular. I met Tommy in 2012 in Stockholm, and that day I knew that he understands the threat, and the threat is Islam, and there's none version, none. And if it weren't for Tommy Robinson, no one would know about these grooming days and what's going on. And my father, my grandfather, my uncles fought for this country, and it's disgusting what's happening all for the sake of political correctness. And that's why we're here today, to support him and everything he stands for. And you must never shout about it. And we in Australia support you 100%, because we've got the same rubbish going on there. So Dad, stand up and fight.
I'm glad that they were allowed into the country, because you would think that they would not have been.
Now we're going to change it up. Tommy!
So this was it was a rousing moment here. So this is Britain Loves Trump rally. I'm just going to play some. We're going to play you some.
You check those streams working.
All these Brits with Make America Great. Are they make Britain great hats?
I think they might be making.
I hope they're making Britain great hats. But still, it's a nod. It's to.
But here's the thing.
To supporting Trump.
These are the Nazis. These are the crazy people, supposedly, that the resistance yesterday, with the trans and the craziness going on, and
they're protesting these people.
So if I'm going to hang out with somebody, I want to hang out with these people.
Yeah.
Okay, they look like nice people.
They do.
They are well-groomed people. They didn't feel like they needed to put on a wig or glitter on their faces.
They put hats on.
But they put on nice hats. That was what got me. Just normal looking people versus the abnormal crazy people. Just normal people. They just normal people. Free Tommy. These are just normal people. All kinds of people. There were brown people there. There were Asian people there. There were all kind of people there. And it definitely is multicultural. So I wanted to kind of give you an idea of the people and the essence of the spirit behind it. And then there was a march, which I'm not sure if my video here will even play. It's been spinning for a while. So these guys, I think,
I've had much sleep. Please bear with me.
He's only had 2 hours sleep.
They were encouraging people to go to the rally.
This, but we know
Britt Boz is sending these guys. I want you to check these guys out if you are in England, in Great Britain. Yeah, they are the Make Britain Great Again hats, and this is Red Pill Factory / Make Britain Great Again. Check out their YouTube channel. He went on. Avi came home. And he tells this story about how people were saying that it was a violent rally, but it wasn't a violent rally. There was all kinds of people there, people of different ethnic backgrounds, and he himself is Jewish. It was just a wonderful, beautiful day. And so here is the rally. Here's some...
God bless you. Love you. Oh!
Another
video.
And
a massive shout out to all the stewards. Let's have a round of applause. Look at them all. Sweating their socks off. I know. Thank you. God bless.
Nobody there with I mean, just you bring up this picture of those anti-Trump rally people. It was just
okay, so
scary.
here's the thing. That was Kevin. Kevin is good.
Just wanted to show you guys a little bit more of a view there, and then I do have. Here we go. Here's the march. If you're going to go to jail, you better go to jail because you're outside of a grooming gang recording it to get the information out there. I don't care if you were in contempt of court or whatever, okay? Rebellion to rebellious law is obedience to God.
Yeah.
And when you're uncovering wickedness and sin, he wasn't doing anything crazy. He wasn't doing anything wrong. And he wasn't doing anything un-American. Because people are allowed to report outside of every single trial in America. I have never heard of a reporter not being outside of a building.
It's ridiculous.
I've never heard of it. And so they're like,
and the punishment doesn't fit the
13
crime.
months for
I'm thinking
reporting
maybe
on a
security, community service. Like he's got to go pick up trash on the streets or something like that. But they don't want him on the streets. That's why you can't do that.
Right.
But seriously, the punishment of 23 hours of solitary confinement
for reporting on a grooming gang. Oh, it was contempt of court. Oh, it was contempt of court. Oh, he broke his whatever. You guys, it makes no sense. The punishment does not fit the crime.
Anybody that would say, well, he knew and so he disobeyed and so he should be punished and all that. Anybody that would say that has their head in the sand because you're not looking at the broader picture of why was he told that he wasn't allowed to speak.
Right.
What happened that he was so swiftly brought to justice within 5 hours? What is with the 23 hours of solitary confinement? What is with the 13 months? You're not looking at any of the rest of that stuff. You're just being like one of those kids in class, like, well, they did it, and then it's out of jail.
Harvey Weinstein.
You have to use your own mind to look at this.
Harvey Weinstein is out on bail. Just think about that.
Thank you.
So I wanted to get you the pro-Trump. Their top manager loses job for telling the truth about Sweden's fake child migrants. These are men.
Are those the children?
Yes.
Those are. Hang on. Stop. Go back up. These are supposed to be children,
Yes.
migrants. Okay. Just so we're on the same
It
page.
is not a secret that at least 80% of Sweden's child migrants are actually adults. But a Facebook discussion about the topic cost the senior head of Swedish Railways his job. Earlier this year, the Swedish parliament decided to give 9,000 unaccompanied Afghan migrant children residence permits. The senior manager, who didn't agree with that decision, replied on a political leader's Facebook post. He suggested that the group are not children and that the billions that are paid for their protection could be better spent elsewhere. His remarks caused a backlash in a disciplinary meeting regarding it was of no help. His remarks were spread throughout his workplace, and to the end, he chose to resign from his job.
Wow.
And so he lost his job over that.
This constant censorship worldwide, where people are losing their jobs, being thrown in jail just for saying something. That is why here in the United States, our freedom of speech is really, really, really important. In Canada, we have the M103 law that has gone into effect that censors the people in Canada. But they didn't have what we have with the foundation of their country, with the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press. What Tommy was exercising was the freedom of the press, and they stole that from him. They infringed upon his God-given natural right and then threw him in jail for it. We are in the dark ages in the United Kingdom right now.
Yeah, so you have this Tory woman. Her name is Conservative Party chairwoman Carla Godman. After the Manchester bombing, she said you had a lot of these Islamists who were making Islamic babies to take over Britain. Somebody brought this up over a year later, and she had to step down.
No way.
So, a Conservative Party chairwoman and president has been suspended over claims that radical Islamists rape British girls to create Muslim babies.
They do, though. So,
Carla Godman in Irvine told the Argus she stands by her claims, as they were made just days after the Manchester terror attack a year ago. The Loose Conservatives president and chairwoman said she would not want to be part of any organization that does not allow her to voice her own opinion. In a blog post on May 30th last year, she stated, "Radical so-called Islamists have for decades made it perfectly plain that they hate the indigenous British, our culture, values, freedom, and Christian faith."
Now, she said so-called Islamists. That leaves room in there for, you know what, there are real Islamists that don't go by all of this extremism. So there should be nothing wrong with that, because it is a fact that there are these radical, I call them just Islamists, there are these radical Islamists that do say this, they do these things, this is their goal.
The farmer and campaigner added, "They have said that they are just biding their time and waiting for instructions from their leaders, and when the word comes, they will systematically wipe us out. Already they are raping and impregnating British girls and young women, creating Muslim babies. Just see what is happening in Rochdale. The rest of us say they will exterminate with bombs and knives." But she was suspended by the Conservative Party after it was flagged up by the Politics Home website. A Conservative Party spokeswoman said Carla Godman Irvine has been suspended from the party pending investigation. Ms. Godman told the Argus she did not regret her statements, that they had been made after 22 people had been killed by a bomb at the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester. She said, "I thought it was appropriate at the time. To trowel this up at a later time is inappropriate." She recognized that there are a lot of law-abiding Islamists, but called on them to sort out problems caused by extremists. She added, "It was at a time when our children had been massacred. I think the local community should not be wringing their hands and saying it's not our problem. If things go wrong in our communities with our kids, we sort it out." The blog post says, "Let us hope that the 22 victims of the Manchester bomb have not died in vain. Perhaps this was a wake-up call that was much needed. The policing of the city centres must be revolutionised, and the radical monitoring of what is going on within the Muslim population, their mosques, schools, must be addressed. Genuine, peaceful Muslim clerics, imams, and communities must take responsibility for their own. They cannot stand by wringing their hands saying it's not us. It darn well is, and if they are not willing to police their own extremists, then something has to be done. We have been too cautious, polite, and even perhaps afraid to act, while turning a blind eye and allowing vast areas of our cities to be unrecognizable as Britain. Local planners have much to answer for by allowing vast mosques to be established which hold thousands. Would Christians be allowed to build vast cathedrals in Muslim countries? No, of course not. The British public are angry. They want strong leadership and a government prepared to deal with this problem. We could take the view it is too late, that the genie is out of the bottle and there is nothing to be done. However, we know that is not so. We are not prepared to roll over and accept the inevitable. The British don't do that.
So I have no problem because I'm in America and I'm not being censored, at least
I think
at the threat of losing my job. That's why I am my own
Couldn't it be seen as being politically motivated?
She's really winning today. No, it's okay. So I can say it. Here's the deal, and I've said this before. A lot of people, when you look at terrorism and you look at the bombings and you look at the Ariana Grande concert and the 22 victims that died, and it's atrocious and it's awful, and you think that is the tool that these people are using to change the country, to incite fear in the country, whatever. It is not. This woman is spot on. There is a Trojan horse, and these people realize that they do not, even the people that are not extremists, okay? We're talking moderate Muslims. They are still coming over to Western countries and producing a massive amount of children, raising them up in their belief system, and it's going to get to the point, and we are almost there, where they won't need the bombings, they won't need to do any of these things. They will legislate you out of your own country because the numbers will be there. So fighting this, the way that even you guys in the United Kingdom are fighting it isn't going to solve the problem. It's not enough to arrest all the rapists. It's not enough to make sure that they're punished, because that doesn't matter. you have to stop the hemorrhaging of the flood of the people coming into your countries.
Yeah.
And that's where that's where the battle has to be fought.
So Mr. Sadiq Khan, who approved the Trump baby blimp himself, $53,000 have been raised in less than a week for a Khan baby blimp. I wanted to go over this one more time.
I had that up. I'm glad that I think we have the same article.
Oh my gosh. The Greater London Authority gave its authorization after 16,000 people signed a petition calling for a Trump baby balloon to be allowed. Khan later defended it, saying it was freedom of speech. So there will be a campaign that will be used to host a Make London Safe Again to raise awareness of the escalating numbers of violent crimes committed in London. He continued, what we're going to be doing at the event in August called Make London Safe Again, it'll be a demonstration to make London safe again and put real pressure on Sadiq Khan to make London feel safer again. It will be it will be going to good causes, and it will be going to other events. Mr. Khan and President Trump have repeatedly locked horns. So I think that is absolutely wonderful, and we're looking forward to that. Now, we played on Friday a clip with Donald Trump telling Germany, what are you doing with this giant pipeline coming from Russia giving you natural gas? We're supposed to be protecting you from Russia, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a play. I don't think Donald Trump really cares whether they have Russian gas or not. Okay? It's just a play. And I don't care whether they have Russian gas or not. Okay? But they are telling us that Russia is the evil big bad boogeyman.
Exactly.
And this is how Donald Trump was playing it. However, what is so absolutely hilarious about this is that Germans have been polled to say they fear Donald Trump more than Vladimir Putin. Now, what this shows is that the media has done a great job, and that public schooling around the world, starting in Prussia, where public schooling was originated and perfected. Did you know Prussia, which was back then in the early 1800s, it was part of Germany. They've changed a lot of borders. Okay, it's hard to keep track of all these places. But a man named Horace Mann in America went to Prussia, Germany area, and they had been training people. And you can listen about this history. There's an audio book I was listening to with John Taylor Gatto. Wonderful man, wonderful ex-New York Teacher of the Year, New York City Public Schools Teacher of the Year, saying that public schools cage kids. Obviously they do.
That's where the real cages are, back to that topic.
Absolutely. So why
we already cage our children in the public school system. Sorry.
Why am I going over this real quick? Well, what they did was they forced every child into public schooling, but they picked a top tier amount of children to be taught the finer arts, okay?
Right.
And then they trained the rest of the children who would be, actually, it was designed to create soldiers, obedient soldiers. They were literally training children to be obedient soldiers, and it actually worked. The Prussian army was fantastic because they would take orders.
Right.
And in Germany, nothing has changed. Hitler banned homeschooling, okay? Just like in Germany. In Germany,
it's still banned.
It's literally illegal to school your own child.
Which means that your child belongs to the state and not you.
There was one homeschool family that tried to get asylum here in America, but we wouldn't give them that.
They should have been given
asylum. But all the Mexicans can come over here freeloading. They weren't going to freeload. They just wanted asylum, but
they just wanted to be able to teach their own children according to their conscience.
They didn't get asylum. But my point is, with the fact that there is literally nothing to fear with Donald Trump being president. Like, seriously, like, if we just bring it down and we're serious for a second.
He's not going to bomb Germany?
There is nothing to fear.
There's no plans for him to bomb Germany.
None. And so the fact that they're more afraid of Donald Trump than Vladimir Putin, that is itself scary and shows the brainwashing that they can trigger people to think what they want them to think, even though it goes against reality.
Yes.
The United States may be Germany's #1 ally, but 2/3 of Germans think that the U.S. president is more dangerous than his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. That's not surprising when you look at Germany's political priorities. When asked which world leader was the greater threat to world security, 64% of respondents chose U.S. President Donald Trump over his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. The German Antipathy towards Trump doesn't end there. 56% of the respondents thought that Putin was more competent than Trump, with only 5% preferring the latter on that score. 36% of Germans find Putin more likable than Trump, while 6% saying the opposite, although most respondents refused to indicate a preference on that question. And perhaps most surprisingly, 44% said Putin was more powerful than Trump, compared to only 29% who thought the U.S. president has more power. This is all so absolutely crazy.
Wow.
That it's hard to wrap your brain around. Germans conservatives share the general public's dislike of Trump. People who voted for Chancellor Angela Merkel's Conservative Party also found Putin more likable, competent, and more powerful than President Trump, which I find.
So these polls, though, I mean, what is the pool that they are pulling from?
That's a
who
really
are these
good
people?
question.
You know, you can't really trust polls. However, these numbers are really interesting.
Muslim man with a knife on Paris metro. I'm Muslim. I'll kill all the Catholics.
Wow.
On Friday, yesterday, on France's national holiday, Bastille Day.
Yesterday wasn't Friday. It was.
It was Saturday. It was Saturday. Sorry.
Okay.
A Muslim man caused panic on the Paris metro. I'm just picturing Paris, and everyone dreams of going to Paris, and you go to the shops and the cafes, and there's beautiful food and wine and cheese and bread, and you just...
I don't think that's the accent you want, but we'll go with it.
And you has... well, it's close enough.
You're the Brit going to France.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Beautiful Paris.
What's that movie,
vacation.
Sabrina, she goes to Paris.
Paris.
And she becomes cultured, right? Well, shortly before 1 p.m. on Saturday at Amber Station, a passerby suddenly shot a knife on the platform and began to scream, "I am a Muslim. I'll kill all the Catholics." I'm sure that's exactly how he said it. His threats caused great panic, but fortunately for the passengers of a nearby carriage, the man was overpowered and arrested by police before he could attack anyone. He was a 23-year-old Egyptian. He is not documented in the police district. However, he is known in the courts for 2 common law convictions.
Nice.
So, there you have it.
You know, you do. Here's the thing. So I'm hearing it in the chat. Horatio saying it. Everybody's saying Paris is a dump. It's not awesome. Trust them. I've never been there. I don't know. The American view is obviously glazed over. You want to tour France. You want to go to Paris. I believe you that it is a dump, and it's not all just due to the migrant issue. It's just modern life of. Just things aren't like the way they're not the way that they used to be. You know, people don't have the same respectability that they used to have. So I can see that, but I'm not going to Paris. I've never desired to visit Paris. So that was really just kind of
We've always wanted to go to Italy and to Venice.
Venice is a dump now too, so I hear.
I know. Okay, to Sweden.
Here we go.
Jimmy Axel, the leader of the right-wing Swedish Democrats, tells a newspaper. You say that.
Aftonbladet.
That the migrants are behind the rise of the violent crime in the country. In its commentary, Atkinson states that the increasing violence in the Swedish society and the resulting lack of safety is due to excessive immigration. Now, I feel like it's not... When we keep saying immigration, they need to be more specific because it's hard to argue facts.
Right.
Okay? It's hard to argue the fact that people are coming into our country and they're just coming here for benefits. That it's just mostly young men from these violent countries where it's like well known that people just rape and pillage and do all kind of crazy stuff. Okay? Cultures matter.
And you know what? Here's the deal. Sweden, y'all tossed that off. We got rid of the raping and the pillaging. You evolved from that. You have feminists ruling your country. There should be no raping whatsoever. Why is there an influx when the feminists are ruling of rape?
Because it's like when you cut all sugar out of your diet. Then, like, you start to crave other things. And these feminist women who are actually themselves starting to have relations with these migrants coming in. who have a very patriarchal mindset where they're coming from.
Horatio says that Japan has a special repatriation program for Japanese citizens who are so distressed by Paris once they get there and realize it's awful.
Huh. An important step towards restoring security will therefore be to ensure that criminal migrants are not permitted to stay in Sweden.
It's a good plan.
Good plan. Today, 4 out of 5 foreign rapists and almost every one of 2 foreign murderers are allowed to stay. Go home, baby. Go home. You don't get...
Here's the thing. Because if you are a rapist in another country and you come to my country, I may not even send you back to your country. You're just going to jail here.
Well, that's what they're saying. They're going to jail.
You're saying they should go home. I'm saying they should just stay here. A lot of times these are people that have committed crimes. How many times we've covered this? People that are coming over from other Middle Eastern countries, Muslim countries, I'll just say it. They're coming over. They have committed crimes in that country. It is known to the Western country that they are a criminal and they still let them in. You're saying send them back, let them be punished there. They're not going to be punished there.
No,
they should just stay and be punished there. Whack off their willy.
Okay, fine. And then deport them.
Okay, whack off their willy and deport them.
They don't get to stay after they come out. These rapists don't get long sentences, so they go back out and they rape. These killers don't get long sentences, so they go back out and kill.
Keep them in jail forever.
They don't do that in Sweden.
They should.
Send them back.
They should.
And then it costs that country a bunch of money. So no, send them back.
I still do think that the answer for that is the willy whack.
His argument. He substantiates
I would be okay with
him
them not even serving any prison time with the willy whack, because the idea behind prison is that you are now a threat to society with your weapon that you're walking around with, right? And so, you know what? I think they should give them a choice. Do you want to go to jail for the rest of your life, or do you want to willy whack?
This guy is saying you got to deport him because you're looking at the perspective of the perpetrator rather than the victim. And it is not right for somebody to be subjected to a serious crime by a foreigner, and it's unreasonable to allow those perpetrators to walk freely on Sweden streets ever again.
Right.
To reduce the number of victims and ensure their future safety, he demands that foreign nationals convicted of serious or sexual offenses be sentenced to life expulsion in addition to imprisonment.
Okay, yeah, I like it.
Should the perpetrator's homeland obstruct the return process, he may use aid, frozen assets, and penalties as pressure tools. He believes that the need to renegotiate or refrain from international conventions in order to carry out this kind of justice are in line with the general interpretation of the law. So we're gonna start wrapping things up here. A couple interesting things. So Croatia, is it happening right now? Are they kicking that football across the field for France and Croatia? Right? Croatia beat. That was Croatia that had. But interesting. I was wondering if we'd see Croatia.
The UK lost the World Cup. I don't want to call it a primary. What is that even before your?
It could very well have something to do.
Leading up to it, they lost it.
With the fact that Croatian men might have more of a backbone. Croatia will not.
Oh, you can't say that to our UK viewers.
Well, compared to the
football players?
No, compared to the people in charge right now.
Okay.
Croatia will not allow illegal migration, Interior Minister.
France won.
Well.
Thank you, Justin.
In a two-day meeting in Innsbruck, Austria, comprised of Home Affairs ministers across Europe, Croatian Interior Minister Davor Božinović, asserted that Croatia will continue to protect its borders while remaining consistent with values of humanity and solidarity. Mr. Božinović made clear that Croatia will not allow illegal migration. The migrant crisis has been the most pressing issue within the European Union recently, with many European leaders under political pressure to tighten their national borders. He noted that the large sponsor of the migrant crisis were human traffic gangs who had made huge profits from smuggling, and I think that is your best angle on this. What?
Nothing.
They're hitting the human trafficking angle, and I think that is really the point there. UKIP leader Gerard Batten claims Muslim rape gangs follow the cult of Mohammed.
They keep doing that, taking videos down.
Okay, so Justin, aka Worth a Look, sent me a video on Facebook, and then
and Facebook
I watched
censored it,
and Facebook made it like
they censored it from the message itself. So he sent it in a message. Lee goes back to the message, and it's gone.
Well, it says attachment unavailable.
Whatever.
So he found it, and this really kind of was shocking to me because
is this the same video?
Yeah, he found it. The Union Jack was banned from Durham Miners Gala for fear of starting a riot. And I was like, I was just shocked. And I want to hear what you guys have to think about this because...
It's not allowed to fly the Union flag.
We're not allowed to fly the Union flag.
Right? And I fought against terrorism. He's supporting terrorism.
I fought against terrorism. He fought against terrorism.
You take those flags out, that's your field. There's going to be a riot. Let me get this right. If we take the Union flag,
there's nothing to do with the flags, he says.
That's going to cause disorder.
But that's going to cause... He literally says it has nothing to do with the flags, but that flag is going to cause a riot.
So I can't have that on there because I'm not prepared to police a riot.
I'm not prepared to deal with a riot.
Right. That may be the case, but at this moment, that coming on here is going to cause me a problem.
Do you see how fundamentally important that is, what you just said?
And yet there's a man wearing a Palestinian flag on his shirt.
You're not allowed to Union Jack.
Abusing and walking.
There was a man with a Palestinian flag on his shirt that abused him.
Yeah. Why? I can't have you in there. Why? Displaying these flags. Why?
What country are you in? I don't...
It's a British flag.
That's right. So we know very well that it's going to cause issues here. This is why you know that. Yeah, they stopped me going down because I'm a former light infantryman. They let the Palestinian supporter go through there. It was giving me abuse. They had to stop me, who's a former light infantryman. And they won't let us fly our flag because that's wrong. And the Queen's flag.
And the Queen's flag.
Jack, they say we'll cause a riot if we go there.
Why the Union Jack?
There was a guy giving me hassle with a Palestinian flag on, right? Pro-terrorism, and yet they let him go through, but they stopped me.
Unbelievable. You're not allowed to fly the Union flag in England. Unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible.
For your own protection.
Wow.
So, could somebody tell me why the police would do that? Like, I don't. I'm not getting it. Like, I don't get it.
Okay, so, do you have anything left?
I don't have the video, so forget it. He spoke. I'm like deflated now. Gerard Batten told protesters. Let's see. Let's just read a little bit what he said. He said the protesters of the rate. See, I'm trying to get this right. Speaking of the London rally, UKIP leader Gerard Batten told protesters that such rape gangs were inspired by the cult of Muhammad. In his short speech about Islam and its effect on British society, Mr. Batten claimed that the founder of their cult was himself a pedophile and who kept sex slaves. His controversial comments sparked reactions from both sides of the political spectrum, with Hope Not Hate condemning his vile comments. Earlier this year, Mr. Batten came into the spotlight once again for he labeled Islam a death cult. Despite critics calling him Islamophobic, Mr. Batten asserted that everything he said about Islam was factually and historically true.
It is.
Urging people to look at the history of Islam, which is characterized by invasion, violence, and intimidation.
This is what is happening right now. I'm going to break this down to you. when you speak out and say, and there are people that actually don't believe, they're Holocaust deniers, and I'm not talking about those people, but let's just say for people that
they're definitely
believe,
Islamic deniers, aren't
they? That believe, we all know that the Holocaust happened. We know that Hitler was evil. That's why people use it as a slur. So let's just say people were coming out and saying Hitler was a maniac and he was a murderer and he hated Jewish people, and anything you want to use to describe Hitler in a negative way. Then people can't come to you and say, we need hope, not hate. You can't speak about Hitler that way. It wasn't exactly the way that you're saying that it was. And even if it was, we have to be kind. And we can't speak about the facts.
Of Hitler today aren't doing those same things.
Yeah, we can't speak about the facts. We need hope, not hate. You have to be able to speak out about the facts. All right, so is that what are you done?
Yeah, we're done.
All right, so I'm going to go over here to, we're going to play a little bit on Water's World. We have Sebastian Gorka and Nigel Farage. And so we're going to play just a little bit of that for you guys. Because we can, and it's Nigel. And anytime I get an opportunity to play Nigel, I'm going to take it. That's my mouse you're trying to steal.
They're all pink.
Everything around here is pink. That's for a reason. All right.
Gorka and Nigel Farage, the former UK Independence Party leader, considered to be the architect behind Brexit. All right, Dr. Gorka, what do you think about the president going over there and collecting bills from our allies? That's a good thing, don't you think?
I love it, Jesse. I mean, imagine if you're a member of a club where 80% of the club members aren't paying their dues and you get stuck with the bill. I mean, that's NATO since the end of the Cold War. Out of 29 members, only 6 of them, including America, actually pays more than 2% of their GDP on defense. It's the freeloader complex, and it's got to end. And instead of fancy press statements and protocol, the president goes there and on camera calls them out and gets commitments, and also does what? Tells them stop getting into bed with Russia. We've been waiting for this for decades. Right. Finally, we have a president who's doing it.
Because past presidents, Nigel, probably said these things behind closed doors. Never anybody said this out loud in front of the cameras like this. He kind of reminds me of the guy when the bill comes at a restaurant with a group of people. He goes through the bill and itemizes it out and says, you know what? You had the steak, you had the wine, I didn't have any wine, I just had a salad. Let's play this thing fair and square.
Yeah, but you know, the media that you're talking about, basically, you are seen as virtuous and good if you denigrate your own country, if you give away as much of your own taxpayers' money as you possibly can, and if you make sure that democratic decisions are transferred from your country to somebody else. And the Germany thing's really interesting. I mean, here is Trump calling out German hypocrisy, and worth remembering that the former German Chancellor now works for, you've guessed it, a Russian gas company, and yet Obama wanted Germany to be the dominant new force in the United States of Europe, run by the sour-faced Mrs. Merkel. I mean, the whole thing is unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember, I think Juan Williams said the other day on the 5, he goes, I don't know if we want Germany to be too big and strong. We've had some problems there before. Wow. Let me ask you guys a hypothetical question, and I'll start with you, Dr. Gorka. Let's pretend Hillary Clinton was president, okay? Brace yourself. Hillary's president, and she flew over there on Air Force One to Europe. What do you think would have happened if Hillary had been over there?
Can I do the baby Hillary?
Are you trying to give me nightmares, Jesse? Please. Look, well, what happened last time? She goes and meets Lavrov, this complete Cold War warrior foreign minister of Russia, and he just eats her lunch. She comes with this cheesy plastic button and says, hey, let's reset our relations. And he goes, it is not translated properly. It says overcharge, not reset. I mean, he made a fool of her, an utter fool of her, and we wanted her, somebody wanted her to be president. Look, I don't care what God you pray to, the viewers out there, but November the 8th, 2016 is proof that God exists because Donald Trump won that election.
That's true. And Nigel, very powerful images over there that are being broadcast all over the world of President Trump walking with the Queen. Very formal ceremony, which I thought was quite touching and special. And they really rolled out the red carpet. And to see those images of our president shaking hands with the Queen and being saluted the way he was saluted, I think shows the American people and the world something very strong and very powerful and very special. Would you agree?
Oh, and very special to him. You know, in my conversations with him, there is no doubt in my mind he has enormous respect for the Queen. She is the most extraordinary figure, and that for him today, you know, it will have been one of the highlights of his presidency. He will have loved it. I've no idea what they talked about between them, but it would have been a really wonderful thing for him. His mother, who of course was born in Scotland, was a big fan of this Queen, and if you think about it, in a way, they were the world's two most famous people sitting down for tea in Windsor Castle. And after all that I saw in London today, with this mob of protesters, and by the way, only one person the protesters hate more than Donald Trump, and that's me. So I've taken some abuse today and had to escape through a few fire exits. But what a nice way for the formal trip to end. Tea with the Queen.
Right. Tea with the Queen. You know, they protested George Bush like this. They protested Ronald Reagan like this. I do find it funny that when European leaders come to Washington, no one shows up to protest because they don't even know who they are and they don't even care. And to be honest with you, everyone over there in Europe is just thinking about the World Cup. So, you know, it is what it is. I want to show you President Trump taking it to the mainstream media. They took it on the chin pretty hard at the press conference with Theresa May. Let's watch some fireworks.
Spent the
all right, so since we already covered all that with you guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop that.
I need to go through some of the comments. First of all, tomorrow is Maia's birthday.
Tomorrow is Maia's birthday.
And Chris Holman is actually going to be doing a live stream.
At 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock for Maia's birthday.
So you guys can go to Chris Holman's channel, and I'm guessing Kelly's going to be there.
So happy birthday to our dear Maia. George Ansted the third just says, interesting for him. I just learned today the two worst years in America were 1913 for the Federal Reserve and 1933 when Roosevelt suspended the Constitution and has never been reinstated yet.
That's you've been red-pilled.
So you were red-pilled, especially on the Federal Reserve.
I love that.
And
it was December 23rd, 1913.
With FDR and Roosevelt, what he did when he brought in his New Deal was definitely unconstitutional.
They did that on purpose, so I can give you a lesson. Because the only way that would have passed the Federal Reserve is if everybody was, you can hold on to that for a second, if everybody was gone on Christmas break, and that's why they pushed it through.
So Scotty says, pro-abortion advocates called Trump Hitler, but they love Margaret Sanger, who was into eugenics exactly like Hitler was. So I wanted to bring that up. And Catholics are Christians. We're the first Christians.
Why is that still even a debate on our channel? I don't even know. Is that it on the comments?
Yeah, you guys are going back and forth. You guys are funny. But yeah, so I think now we're going back and forth on Protestants and Catholicism.
No, we're not allowed to do that on our channel, guys. Oh
my
gosh.
Do it if they want to. Go ahead. Just be nice about it. Boz said something about the helmets that the British police officers wear, but he told me not to read it out loud. So I thought that was really
okay.
Funny.
So Horatio found this for me back on the. It's called Paris syndrome. Let me take you guys to this. This is on Wikipedia. It is a real thing. Paris syndrome is a transient mental disorder exhibited by some individuals when visiting or going on vacation to Paris as a result of extreme shock derived from their discovery that Paris is not what they had expected it to be. The syndrome is characterized by a number of psychiatric symptoms such as acute delusional states, hallucinations, feelings of persecution, perceptions of being a victim of prejudice, aggression, or hostility from others, derealization, depersonalization, anxiety, and also psychosomatic manifestations such as dizziness, tachycardia, sweating, and others such as vomiting. Similar syndromes include Jerusalem syndrome and Stendhal syndrome. The condition is commonly viewed as a severe form of culture shock. It is particularly noted among Japanese travelers. It is not listed as a recognized condition. And so that is literally just from Wikipedia there. So he also sends me a message that says the Japanese embassy in Paris repatriates up to 20 tourists a year, sending them home with a doctor or nurse to ensure they recover from the shock. The embassy also runs a 24-hour helpline for expatriates experiencing the syndrome. While lowered expectations may prevent the shock, Professor Hiroaki Ota, who first identified the syndrome over 25 years ago, says there is only one cure. The permanent fix is a board of flight home and never return to Paris. Last thing that I have to bring to you guys. One of our viewers who's been with us, I think, and you can correct me on this, since last year, almost since we started, St. Mark the Evangelist has a channel. And he is now starting, and he's going to cover commentary on Catholic news, speaking of the Catholics, and I think UK news. So I'm going to play just a little bit. This is an hour and some odd long stream here. It's actually almost 3 hours long. But I found it to be really fun. I was listening to it earlier when I was out. Although having a face to go with the voice would be helpful. It's more like a, yeah. Although I think he will be able to put some of this stuff in. So I want you guys to go and subscribe.
Hello my friends, and welcome to this first episode of the St. Mark's Commentary series. My name is Mark Anthony and I will be your host. Just a short introduction here, just to let you know that first of all, I've done an introductory video that I uploaded earlier on in the week, just to let you all know how these videos are going to play out. Sort of roughly the design I was thinking of. Second of all, most of the news in this episode is going to be rather a bit melancholic, but my commentary towards the end picks up as I sort of make fun of the whole Russian collusion investigation and the whole Peter Strzok investigation interview thing that took place the other day. So that gets a bit happier. So if you want to skip to the happy bit, just skip to about an hour, and it should pick up from there. Plus, I just want to... I don't
know, an hour in, I wasn't able to listen to all of this. Because that is the Feast
of Our Lady of the Most Holy Rosary. So, some of the people who are going to be speaking there, either directly in person or via video feed, will be Cardinal Raymond Burke, who is a very well-known...
news, which is great, and I'm glad that you're actually doing that, because we do have a lot of Catholic viewers.
And so... it says that girls who survive these attacks are often spared death only to be forced to become Muslim and to be taken as wives by young Muslims. So forced marriage, abduction and all the rest. I mean, we all know how it goes. I'm not going to read through the entire article. I'm just picking bits out there. But obviously go and read. And just to end, the priest says... they should pray for Nigeria in distress. Our country, Nigeria, needs prayer. The solution is for God's intervention. And
amen. So, if you guys want more of what we cover here, I think that you're going to get that on St. Mark the Evangelist's channel from Mark Anthony there, and he says it with a far more enjoyable accent than we do. Yes. So I want you guys to go and subscribe to his channel and support him and watch his content. So is there anything else in the chat that we need to cover?
I think we're good.
Did you have a song?
I did not. I was going to practice that Death is Dead to Me, but I didn't get a chance to practice it.
Okay. Well, since we're already over on our time,
yeah,
I think we're just now reaching the 2-hour mark. We're going to call it a day, and we're not going to do a song. I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you to our moderators who are here. Maia, whose birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Maia. Happy birthday to you. We love you so much. Maia and I have had some very deep conversations and discussions. I've never met her in person, but I feel like I know her heart, and
Edward
I wish
Wallace
you
says,
all the best this
Have you
coming
not been
year.
with us before, Edward? We sometimes end in song, like, yeah, seriously, to bring light to the mood.
Edward knows we do Edward knows we do songs.
Okay,
we do them all the time.
He says song. What the what?
I don't know. Amber, Britt Baza, Maia, Gary, Worth a Look, Tallulah Lula, Kelly. Thank you all for being here from our moderators. If you guys left a comment, the comment section was hopping today.
Shock of no song.
And so you all left comments that we didn't see that are good. So what are you going to do? When the video finishes processing, you're going to leave that comment so that Leah and I can go back and read them, and others can appreciate the comments that you left. You are also going to like this video. You're going to subscribe to our channel. You're going to make sure that you're still subscribed to our channel, and you're going to share this video to everybody that you know.
We could sing "I Went Down to the River to Pray." That was going over my head. It's been a while.
Okay.
No guitar with that one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You go.
As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, brothers, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, fathers, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mothers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, mothers, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sinners, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sinners, let's go down in the river to pray.
Very good. I like that song. It's a good song. We need to practice who's going to sing what, and then we'll have it worked out. And then it'll be fun.
It's all about the spirit behind
it. It is all about the spirit behind it. Maia, speaking of our birthday girl, had a dream the other day, and she sends me a message, and she says, Michelle, what is your view about tattoos? What is your view on tattoos? And I have a very, straightforward view of tattoos. I believe that God created our body. God is the ultimate artist. And if you had a Rembrandt hanging on the wall and you went and took a marker and decided to draw your own thing on it because you felt that it needed to be added, I think that might be a little bit awful. It doesn't do honor to the artist and to what he created and what he intended. It's not the same thing. People are like, oh, you guys wear makeup or you put clothes on. It's not the same thing. Let's use common sense here.
You
okay,
can wash it off, baby.
You can wash all that off.
What happens with the tattoos and you get that naked lady on there? When you're 85, she just looks like...
Yeah, not so great.
Don't look right.
Additionally, if you're going to get a tattoo, which I am against, you need to research getting safe ones because the chemicals that are going into your body from tattoos are really, 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 really bad. Tattoos are very, not only are they dangerous from an infection standpoint and all that stuff,
you know,
literally the chemicals and the ink and the dye, it's really bad.
I saw somebody post something on Facebook with like this rose on their foot. And I'm just like, that looks like all the nasty tattoos I saw in like the 80s.
Yeah. Like
nasty. Like I've never really seen too many like tattoos that actually, oh, that looks good. Like it's really off-putting. Like personally, they look bad. But at the same time, a lot of tattooed people out there that are awesome and they feel like they got to do what they got to do.
So this was not to talk about tattoos. It was interesting. She said to me, I sent her this message thinking she was asking me for advice or what I thought. Maybe she was thinking about getting a tattoo or knows somebody that's going to get a tattoo or something. I thought maybe that's where this was going. And she messaged me back and she's like, oh, good. I'm glad we're on the same page because I had a nightmare that you got 2 full sleeve tattoos on your arms, all over your arms. And I just died laughing. I literally died laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. And I asked her, I was like, that's really interesting. Because I'm thinking metaphorically, you know, sometimes dreams have imagery. I said, what were the dreams of? And she said, fire and like kind of, I'm going to get this wrong, like iridescent water, really colorful water and waves.
What were the tattoos of?
That's what the tattoos were of. And so I thought, well, in the Bible, God is fire and water. And his word is tattooed on our heart. So it could be metaphorically. So I'm going to take it. But Michelle's not getting any tattoos. So you can set your mind at ease. No more nightmares of that. That's not going to happen. Okay. So happy birthday, birthday girl who had a dream that I had full sleeve tattoos.
On that note,
we're going to sign off.
We don't know when we'll see you, but we will see you.
Or you'll see us.
Definitely Friday at 6 p.m.
And again next Sunday.
I said PMs. Like
PMs. That's right. You say Jacob Rees-Moggs. It's Mog.
You know, I have so many things going through my head. Like,
but it's all right.
It's like
that's why they come back.
I have too many words to speak and not enough mouths to speak them.
Maybe that's a good thing. Okay, all right.
God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, baby.
Hey, that's good. We have a P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. If you want to submit your
10 fingers to
letters,
do a lot more
we will
working
read
than
them on air. Yes, that's right. Don't forget, it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's a truth.
All right, you guys, we love you. We will see you back later this week sometime. Oh, and don't forget, Kelly and Christopher will be going Chris Holman Channels. Right? I don't know if they're going. Are you guys going live tonight? Tomorrow for Maia's birthday at 8 p.m. They did a live stream about the Second Amendment. I think, was that just yesterday? My days are running together, but you guys can go back and watch it. It was really good.
Who are well versed on the Second Amendment.
Yes, they are. See that. Yes, they are.
All right, guys. Check you later. Have a blessed the rest of your day. Fill with the Holy Spirit. Go with God. Be excited
on the Lord's Day. Bye, guys. I was called